Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Alright, good evening, guys. Hello. Let me put a chat up on the screen. 1 second. Trying to stream a little bit earlier on Thursday nights because I'm so sick of going to bed and being super tired at work. So a little bit earlier than normal. Be working on some cursors. I had to think about that for a minute. These were the ones that I was working on a few weeks ago, or maybe it was just last Saturday night. It feels like a few weeks ago. But good evening. Although thanks for tuning in. Probably going to be live for about 2 hours. Maybe a little bit less. We'll see. See how I feel. Good evening, James. Hello. These incursors were almost done with their base coats when I was working on them a little while ago, so hopefully we'll get the base coats finished up. They are very close to being finished base coat wise, and then we'll get on to... might get onto some washes tonight, but if I just get to the point where like I'm happy with all the base coats, that would also be pretty good for me. I'd be happy with that. I need to order some new brushes as well, because this one is on its last legs for sure. I do have a better brush that I can use, and I'll maybe use it once I'm done with the base coats. But I want to order some more of these element brushes, especially for the Christmas holidays coming up. You guys got any projects for the Christmas holidays, model-wise? I think my project might be more Death Company. That's what I'm leaning towards. Hold on, where's my chat? Here it is. Daniel, good evening. Vic, hello. Stephen, I mean, you can watch West Wing if you want, dude. I mean, I'm sure that's more interesting than I am. I've never actually watched West Wing myself. It's Charlie Sheen in the West Wing, right? Or no, not Charlie Sheen. Martin Sheen is dad, right? I was more a 24 type person. Keith Sutherland is more my jam, I think, than West Wing. I don't know, I'd probably enjoy it if I watch it. I don't watch that much television. It's like, my wife watches all the television and I just watch YouTube, man. A lot of good stuff on YouTube, I tell you. Myself not excluded, right? Popped in to say hi and leave a like. That's always appreciated, Jim. Thank you so much. If anyone's got any questions about the game last night against Votan as well, let me know. I'm so pleased that I still have kept my 100% win rate against Votan. I mean, it's only 2 games, but it just feels good because I think on paper Votan just look really, really strong. I mean, I guess they are counterable to a certain extent, but they have some nice stuff. That Mortal Wound strat on the Hekatonk is a crazy. Peter's trying to get his baby to sleep. Oh, join the club, Peter. I got my baby monitor right here. Look at that. My baby is asleep, but for how long? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Atlas says the massive points drop got the Votan in line. I mean, I guess points right. Points nerf, sorry, not points drop, my bad. I mean, it's helped for sure. I think they would. I think if they'd kept the original points, they'd probably have been too strong. But yeah, I mean, I think the Votan seem fine. I think they still seem strong. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think they're weak at all. But I mean, I think Blood Angels are a good army to fight them with, right? Because we obviously get to go from terrain to terrain. I think an army that was going to shoot back at the Votan that needs to be out of cover, I think that's going to be pretty difficult. Good evening, Dasher. Hello, how you doing? I did watch some TV though tonight. I just finished season 1 of Andor on Disney Plus. I really enjoyed that actually. I think it's probably... Is it the best Star Wars show they've had on Disney Plus, possibly? If you haven't checked it out, I'd check it out. I enjoyed it. Mind you, the other shows they've had on Disney Plus have been a bit hit or miss. James says 24 was great, but I distinctly remember the moment they jumped the shark. It was the end of season 5 when Jack was tied to a chair and bit a man to death. Okay. It did get a bit ridiculous near the end of it. That is for 100% sure. First few seasons of 24 were good though. It always happens with TV shows. They either get cancelled too early or they run for too long. It's fine. It's hard to find the happy medium, I guess. Maybe that's what will happen with my YouTube channel. You guys will be like, "Oh God, that Blood Angels commander, he's still streaming. He's been going too long." Or it'll be the other one. I'll finish too quickly. I ain't going anywhere though, so I'm sure it'll be the opposite. You'll be done with the notifications. You'll be like, turn those notifications off for a Blood Angels commander. I don't care. First time I've run 10 Death Company, honestly, and might be the first time I've run 10 Death Company in 9th edition. I used to run 10 Death Company quite a bit in 8th. Because I only had 1 wound in 8th. The big squad, right? Like, with just like chainswords and kind of cheap, I guess, and comparatively points wise, because they're just like 21 points with a chainsword. You know, I've been running Sandguard for so long that like running that big squad of Death Company kind of felt nice, because like you can lose a few Death Company and you're like, well, whatever, they're only like 21 points a mono. Whereas when you start losing Sanguinary Guard, it's like, oh, it feels so painful because they're like 30 points per model, right? So, yeah, in first turn against the Votan, they killed like 2 Death Company. I was like, you know, you can kill, if all you can do in first turn is kill 2 Death Company, I'm feeling good. Because that's like 40 points. That's nothing. I've not lost anything. At least that's how I was looking at it last night. The Votan bikes are nice though, right? Like, they do get a lot of shots. It seems like if you're in cover, you can tank up against the bikes pretty good as a Marine player because of Armour of Contempt. But if you're not in cover, the bikes are kind of oppressive. They just have like quite a lot of... I guess it's probably if you're not in cover and once they get those judgments up, because it really... The judgment is where all the strength of the Votan comes from, right? People like Season 1 of Mandalorian, huh? I thought Mandalorian was okay. I mean, it was better than the other... It was better than Boba Fett, that's for sure. Probably better than Obi-Wan. I mean, it'd probably be... Obi-Wan feels like it was a bit of a letdown. Good characters, or possibly the best characters, but possibly like a bit of a dumb, poor story, I would think, Obi-Wan. Yeah, I'll be painting more Death Company. Daniel beat Tyranids, 94-20. Well done, Daniel. What type of Tyranids was it? I know a lot of Tyranid players have started to move away from Leviathan, but I mean, we still see some Leviathan lists, right? Like, it's still a thing. 94-20 is a decimation, though, right? Like, it's like he scored nothing. Like, he got his painting points and he held 1 primary the entire game or something. Yeah, that's a rough game right there. I haven't scored below 20 since I bought Miles like a couple of months back, and yeah, I mean, that's sort of like this game is going to hit your pride sort of style game when you score less than 20. It's rough. Evening, Braden, how you doing? My best fist has shot his plasma pistol 3 times ever and blown himself up 3 times. Yeah, I mean, you just never overcharge Mephisto's plasma pistol. You just can't, dude. The thing about overcharging it is, like, you might think to yourself, well, I can overcharge it. Like, yeah, I mean, you can overcharge it in a friendly game or something, but, like, what you really need to practice with is, like, using... If you want to take Mephisto into a tournament, you're never going to overcharge it at a tournament, unless you're insane, or you just don't want to win. And in that case, then you should sort of practice with what you're not, like you should practice not overcharging it, because you're not going to overcharge it in a tournament setting. So then you're never going to overcharge it. So you almost just have to think of Mephisto as like he just doesn't do damage with his shooting. I mean, I guess he can do 1 damage, but I mean it's not even worth it for 1 extra damage. It might be better, you know, if the plasma pistol was like D3 or something, but it's not. It's just tragic. I think plasma for Marines in general is kind of poor this edition. I had hoped by now we might have had an FAQ or something, like removing some of the... It'd be fine if it did a mortal wound to yourself, but it really doesn't need to kill the bearer. I mean, it already just does a mortal wound if it's a vehicle in that, right? Like, so I kind of feel like they should just roll that rule out to everybody. You might see some Inceptors get played again if they rolled that rule out, because again, Inceptors at a tournament setting can be very difficult to make them work, just because you obviously have the potential where they just kill themselves, and that's really problematic at a tournament, I guess. Wado says, how do I do my red armor? I do, this is actually Evil Sun Scarlet, and it's actually painted over 2 coats. So I paint a coat of, well, I spray my guys white actually first. And I think if you spray them white, it just maybe brings them up like a tiny bit in terms of vibrancy, that's the word I'm looking for. So I actually spray white, and then I'm kind of lazy. I actually spray the second coat. Sometimes I'll paint the second coat on if I don't have spray, because those rattle cans are quite expensive. You know, they're like 20 quid and they only spray like 30 models. So if I've got the Mephiston Red rattle can, I'll spray them, but if I don't, I'll just paint Mephiston Red on. And then after I've painted on the Mephiston Red, that's when I go and do Evil Sun Scarlet. It's just like one layer brighter than Mephiston Red. Here's your Mephiston Red on the left. Here's your Evil Sun on the right. Not much in it, but there's enough. It just brings them up to like I want to say it's like an older hammer. Like the old Warhammer Blood Angels were a bit more bright. Newer Warhammer, like official painted ones, they're a bit more dark red / grim looking. I guess it's up to you if you like that more or not. I don't think either way is better or worse than the other one. I think my one probably doesn't have as much depth as the ones with them. Like the new way of painting them is probably better, but I guess I like my guys to be quite vibrant, so I'm just going to stick with the way I've always done it. And I've been doing this way for like 20 years, so my guys are a bit more vibrant than maybe some other people's Blood Angels. Some people would do like Mephiston Red and then highlight with Evil Sun Scarlet, but I don't like to do edge highlighting on red models. I only edge highlight like if it's desperately needed. So I do it on Death Company because they're in black armor, and I feel like it kind of needed on black armor. But I don't do it in red models. So what I do is I just Agrax Earthshade wash them. Like, these guys are probably like 1 or 2 sessions away from washing, so I mean if you stick around, I haven't actually done a battle ready painting video for like, I've done a battle ready painting video for Sangard, but not for just regular Blood Angels. I'd like to do one at some point. Just for me it always comes down to time, if I can get the time. You know, because I need babysitting and stuff like that. It was a tournament list. 2 Harpies, a Hive Tyrant, a whole bunch of monsters. Well done, Daniel. I haven't played Tyranids since a tournament. I think it was at the beginning of summer, and I did beat them, but I've seen them still placing really high at events. So if I play Tyranids again, I feel like I would be a little bit apprehensive. Like, I still think they're very strong. Toasty Devil, good evening. Marcus says it's the Squat Slayer, the Blood Angels commander. Is that my new name? The Slayer of Squats. I need to rebrand the channel to 100% win rate against squats. How about that, Marcus? Hope you enjoyed last night's game. I really enjoyed it. It was super close until the last turn, actually. And then I ran away with it. All my secondaries sort of fell into place there at the last turn. I noticed in chat a few people were like second guessing my secondaries. That's actually quite difficult to deal with. I don't know if you've ever had a game of Warhammer 40k when I guess you've got 100 people watching, but when 100 people are saying like, hey, you know, you kind of fluffed the secondary picks, mentally you're just sitting there like wanting the world to eat you up or whatever it is. What's the phrase where they want the world to swallow you? Kind of like if you missed a penalty at a match of football, you know, you're just like, oh god. I've lost because I've picked bad secondaries, and everybody in chat knows that the secondaries I should have picked, but I didn't pick them. But then there in the final turn, it was like all of a sudden just everything went my way, and suddenly it was like I scored 84 points against the squats, which I scored 84 points against the squats on a map where I couldn't even hold 2 of the objectives because there's no fucking cover on 2 of the objectives. So at the end of the game, I felt very good about that. So that was a tough one last night, Marcus, but I'm glad you caught it live. Toasty's played 1 coat of Balred and he's done. I mean, if that's what the way you roll, Toasty, that's the way you roll. No shame. There's something to be said about sticking to the same formula for your horror army. If it's vibrant, you started paying them dart now, it looks a little weird. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm always going to stick to my same formula. You know, it'll be unique as well, because I guess if you watch any of the big painters, like Games Workshop videos or stuff like that, they're all painting Blood Angels differently from what I'm painting, so I'm happy to be unique. I don't have a problem with my stuff being a little bit different from everybody else. But yeah, I like to try and make them conform, I guess. But I think once I get like the silver on the guns finished and the silver on these little scanner things on their backpacks finished, I think I'm going to start doing some washes on these guys. I might need to do a second coat, or I would say a second coat is about the 5th coat of yellow on some of their helmets, just to make sure that it's like totally crisp and clean. Yellow is always a bit of a nightmare. If you're ever painting yellow helmets, my advice is, if you've sprayed the model a different colour or something, go ahead and paint the helmet white again, because the yellow will sit so much better over the white. How was my Fury of the Lost experience? Well, I mean, it was fine. I mean, I won the game, and I didn't know really what the fuck I was doing with Fury of the Lost. Probably made a couple of mistakes, Flowbrain. So I think my plan will be, I think I'll run Fury of the Lost next week. I don't have an opponent for next week yet, but I think I'll just run the same list. I like to run a list until it loses, because I think when you're winning, you don't analyse things properly. Like, I always find that if I start losing games, I think like much more critical about things, whereas like when I'm winning games, I just come home after the game. Like, I came home at like midnight last night after the game, and I don't even think about the list at all. I just sort of think to myself like, yay, beat the Votan, that was great, and I go to bed, and you know, there's no, I don't like criticize or anything, like my own gameplay or anything like that. But see, when I lose a game, like I'll come home straight away and I'll want to be on Battle Scribe, and I'll want to like think about, hey, you know, this unit underperformed and stuff like that. So you need to, I feel like personally I need to lose games to know what's the problem. So that's kind of how my mind works in terms of like improving lists. So like sometimes if I win a game and there's a unit that completely underperformed and like did nothing, and it was just like, yeah, and it just didn't fit, maybe I drop it. But like for the most part, I guess what I like to do is try and play a few games, get a rhythm going, get some wins going with the same list, and then either then iterate or change things up, I guess, right? And I feel like a few people said last night, a few people actually said at this, hey, good evening DTM, good evening High End Phoenix, nice to see you. A few people said last night, like at the start of the game, they were like, oh, you should pick Relentless Assault. if you pick shock tactics, I don't want to bet on Blood Angels to win. And then I went and maxed shock tactics by turn 4. I think I think I would have actually had 20 points on shock tactics if it hadn't been capped at 15, right? Like, I think I did it every single turn, because I took an objective from him every single turn, and you know, like, that was my game plan in that game against the squats. Like, I wanted to be in their face, I wanted to be like killing them in melee, because let's face it, I'm not doing all that much killing and shooting, and every unit that I can get into combat is one less unit that's really going to be shooting me, even if I don't kill it, right? It'll be one less thing that's going to be able to like shoot across the battlefield and really destroy my world. And I was actually unlucky in turn 1. I think I actually overkilled his buggy, where like if I hadn't killed the buggy, which normally happens, my Death Company had it pinned against the edge of the board, so he wouldn't have been able to even shoot the Death Company. They would have been kind of in his half of the board, and they would have been safe from any sort of firepower, which would have actually been kind of huge. And probably would have scored me some more Fury of the Lost points. But you know what, I guess overall I feel like I learned a bit. I'll continue learning, I'll continue playing Fury of the Lost, and I think I enjoyed running 3 Death Company in Lamartis. Like, I actually quite enjoyed it. I think I said in Discord, I wasn't totally sure if the Sangari Ancient provided all that much value to me. But I mean, it's hard sometimes, like, just having the Wrath of Val and having that additional movement is valuable, and you don't really... Sometimes you maybe think to yourself, well, it didn't do that much, but like a couple of units... There was a couple of times in that game where I rolled advanced rolls maybe, and like this unit can just move like 21 inches or something, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, as much as I'm saying it didn't do anything for me, it let me do these giant advances, it let me reposition guys over the board, it let me make charges much more easily. So yeah, it was a fun game last night, and I think now, assuming you know your army and assuming you know your enemy, I think shock tactics is totally a valid pick for Blood Angels, and in some ways it could be more valid than Relentless Assault, because with Relentless Assault, if it's a map with there's no objectives in their deployment zone, you've got a choice now, right? You've got a choice where you can like basically sacrifice units and have them sit in the opponent's deployment zone doing nothing, which is fine. I mean, if it's scoring you points, that's fine. Or you can use those units to come and contest objectives and flip one every turn, and have the units sort of more in the battle, I guess would be the way to describe it, right? It certainly worked against Photon, and like I said, I've got my video coming out about the tournament I played last week, and I think I took shock tactics in 4 of the games, and I did well with it in 3 of the games. One of the games I definitely should have picked Relentless Assault, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to tell you that, guys, tomorrow. But I'm not infallible. I'm learning. I think the reason I picked shock tactics on my final game of the day at the event was I'd been running it the whole event, and I'd been doing so well with it. And like sometimes, you know, like I always do say, like sometimes the devil, you know, is if you've been running something and you feel like you're doing well with it, or you know you're doing well with it, and other people are telling you, well, it's not competitive, but you're doing well with it, then I think it's better to run that than to run something you're not familiar with. And I was fighting a list that I didn't know much about, so I just thought, well, I know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to flip objectives with my units. I've been doing it well all event. Let's continue to do that, right? Watching Fury of the Lost was entertaining, because I was thinking, how would I set up? You were talking how things got stale for you. At least for me, it was refreshing. Yeah, I mean, it was refreshing, I guess, to play something different. I felt like I didn't know half the fucking rules last night. I'm old, man. If I don't play some rules for like a month, I just forget them, apparently. That's pretty bad, but I mean that's the truth. So I gotta be running the same units for week in, week out, otherwise I just forget the rules. I mean, I remember the APs on guns and stuff. Last night it felt like every single gun Andrew had to check or look up the AP. I guess he's just getting used to squats though. Some people were saying that was a... Some people said that was a reasonably competitive squat list. Was it? Does anyone play squats here? Does anyone think it was good? For a 10 Death Company like in the Gladiator and Reflection, I mean 10 Death Company are fine, I think. Now that they're so cheap, they're fine. I mean, I don't know if I would have run them until now when they're so cheap. At the price that they are, which is like 21 points a model, like I think they're pretty good at that price. Like they're fodder, but they're also fodder that kill stuff. And being next to Lamartas with like essentially leadership 9 is pretty good as well. I mean, I lost a bunch of them and it was still like, well, I'll just use this leadership 9, so they pass morale. Even on a roll of a 4, it was pretty nice. Lamartas was boss yesterday. How is his damage compared to Mephiston? Yeah, I mean his damage is better than Mephiston by a long shot, but would have Mephiston taken 3 wounds from... would they have taken 3 wounds from, like, was it like 3 squats? 4 squats? Something like that? I feel like no. So I mean, Mephiston's got strength in other ways. We know Mephiston's sword isn't reliable. Like, that's not why you pick Mephiston. It's not. No one's picking Mephiston for his sword, right? I do think what you're saying, Highland Phoenix. I do think maybe the next iteration of my list could be a 65 point Inquisitor with, I like the Warlord trait. Oh, my daughter's up. I'll be back in just 1 sec. It should just take me 1 second to settle her. Yo! I might need to go AFK for a couple of minutes longer. She's just... she's speaking... I don't know if she's having... Hold the thought about the Inquisitor, right? I will be back in just 2 minutes. Sorry. Sorry guys, what's happening? Alright, let's catch up. Will I continue playing the little night detachment? Probably not. Played it at GT, it was fun. Is it viable? Probably. Could it win a GT? Maybe. I don't want to continue playing it. It doesn't. The thing that makes it difficult is it doesn't. It's just hard to get 100 on secondaries with a night detachment. There's so many armies in the current meta that are going to get like 90 plus easily. So based on that, I feel like it's not really an option. You can do okay with it. You can beat a bunch of people. It's got some really good obsec. Is it going to win an event? Tough. Mephiston with no Psychic Mastery is a hard pass. I mean, that's Mephiston has a couple of big problems, right? The sword and the fact he has no plus to cast are his problems. He has some good things going for him, right? 2 denies, feel no pain, toughness 5, 2 up save, 6 wounds, 7 attacks or something. Maybe not 7 attacks. Well, 7 attacks on the charge, right? He has stuff going for him. But I think what goes for him also goes against him, I guess, right? I've been to an event before though where Mephiston didn't fail a cast like the whole event. I mean, you just have to take. Casting a 6 is not that unreliable. It's just unreliable when I play it, I guess. If you actually do math, and I think I did look at this before. I'm pretty sure that Librarian on average is more reliable than Chaplain. Assuming that like you don't have the Wise Orator and you don't have litanies on 2s, then I think that your Librarian is actually more reliable, like mathematically speaking. If that actually is that what actually happens in games, probably not, but mathematically speaking, that is the more reliable of the 2 choices. I guess the other thing you could factor in is, like Andrew took Psychic Interrogation last night, and by not having a Librarian, I basically just give up 15 points. Could try and run my characters away from him, I guess, but I mean, Blood Angels kind of need our characters to do things to win games. I don't think you want to put any weapon on. If you want to run a cheap Inquisitor Highland Phoenix, I just think you run the cheap Inquisitor. Don't waste your points putting a hotshot lasgun on him. You'd be hiding him behind a wall to do Psychic Interrogation, would you not? Maybe you can pop out and do power. But I would take the Warlord trait that gives you the chance to get command points, right? Every time your opponent uses a command point on a 5-up, and then I would also take what's the one? It's not Psychic Interrogation. Is it Mental Interrogation? The one where you can steal command points and make them -1 to hit? I think that would be the way to run a cheap Inquisitor 65 points sort of deal. I've got that Inquisitor from the Games Day, or the rare one, whatever he's called. So I might build him over this holiday. Well, I mean, I say I might build him. I'm like very likely to build him, I think. Hotshot last cannon is free, the force sword is 10. I mean, yeah, I guess a force sword... What does the power sword cost? 5? You can't cast outside of deny range and... you can cast outside of deny range and jump back in later with wings. Yeah, I mean, you can. Realistically, though, I feel like most of the time when I'm using Wings of Sanguinius, I'm trying to maneuver around the opponent from... or make charges, so if you feel like it's not as easy as you might think it would be to like cast something outside deny range and then jump into deny range. I mean, I've definitely done it before, sure, but maybe on paper that sounds easier than it actually is. I think he's 65 points because I think the model that I've got has a force sword or a power sword, so I think that's why it makes him 65. I think you're right. I think he would be 60, but because I have to give him a power sword if it's WYSIWYG, then it would be 65. I mean, if I had one with a chainsword, I'd probably run chainsword and just like I don't expect him to ever really be in combat. I feel like if I wanted all the optimal weapon options and all my Blood Angels, like, I'd just be buying models until the end of time, right? You need to find a spot for your Psyker that isn't a death sentence if he fails. Well, I mean, behind a wall, you don't need line of sight for Psychic Interrogation, right? And it's 24 inches, so I'd say, like, behind a wall, bodyguarded by something. Some models could be behind the wall with them. I mean, typically Blood Angels have, when you play Blood Angels, you usually are using terrain. You usually have models hiding behind walls. I mean, that's a thing that we definitely do, right? Inquisitor Greyfax. I forget which one Greyfax is. I've got one Inquisitor. I've got the one with the Raven. Who's that one again? Oh, that's Cotiez, isn't it? I don't mind Cotiez, but he's kind of pricey. I think he's 95 points. Good evening, Nathan. How are you tonight? Trying to get in behind these helmets, I think, is going to cause me to want to paint some more yellow on these helmets, just give them a final coat. Sort of wanted to do the neck armor. Not that anyone can really see under their headpiece to their neck, but I wanted to paint it anyway. It's probably one of the reasons that I'm so slow at painting, is I paint areas that people won't see very well. The reason I see it well is when you look at the model there, you think like, yeah, you know, you're looking at the tabletop, it's like that. When I'm painting, I'm using this crazy magnifying glass. So like, there he is. There he is. So the magnifying glass is my own worst and best enemy, in that like I can see parts of the model that I normally probably wouldn't see, and then I waste time spending trying to paint parts that you probably wouldn't see. If you play an Inquisitor and an enemy character should die close to him, you can get up to 2 CP for that. Why is that? What's that? I know the assassins have the like priority target neutralized. What's the one? What's the one for Inquisitors, Balbo? I don't know that one. I mean, possibly I'll know it when you tell me it, but I'm thinking off the top of my head, I don't know it. When your local hobby store 40k players still fail 8th edition, and every time I have to explain 9th edition has line of sight blocking and strategy. Okay, wow. I didn't know anyone still played 8th edition, really. I didn't think 8th edition was very good. I really didn't like how random the missions were and stuff. I don't think I went to a single tournament in 8th edition. I know Andrew went to a bunch, but no, I don't think I went to any. I played Kill Team event, actually, yeah, I played some Kill Team tournaments during 8th, but that was like... You know, that was just because, like, I prefer the balance maybe in Kill Team. And I mean, Kill Team was brand new. Alright, I think I'm putting those two to the side for now. Oh, there was maybe a little bit on the bolter needed tidied up. Cotius has the insane ability. Cotius has two abilities. One, he gets to Auspex scan anything coming in, right? And it's kind of free, but he only has a strength 4 weapon, so it's not that great. And then he has the one ability where you can make something cost an extra CP, and if they can't pay the extra CP, it basically denies a stratagem. I find that's quite a hard one to use. I always seem to end up wanting to use it early in the game, whereas like I think it's probably more valuable if you hold on to it. Cotius isn't bad. I mean, he's got basically a strength 6 Thunderhammer as well, right? Yeah, I really don't dislike Cotius, but I think it's the points cost that puts me off of him. 95 points for what he is, just... I guess you're paying for that stratagem fucking around ability, and the problem with the stratagem fucking around ability is... Yeah, it'll be great into some armies, and it might just be useless into others. I mean, I pretty much bought him, I think, because of that stratagem to mess... Or, sorry, that ability to mess with other people's stratagems. That's, like, one of the main reasons I went and bought a Cotiez. So I get it's strong. I just think it's quite difficult to play in practice, maybe. Good evening, Exo. Not seen you in a little while. How are you? You can speed up your paints by selecting paints that have better coverage. I think I'm going to buy Duncan Rhodes' set of paints in the new year, because he's basically made a set of paints that basically does all the GW colours, right? Like that's his line of paints is called Too Thin Coats. I like Duncan. He's obviously got a YouTube channel as well, and I mean, when I first got back into 40k, it would have been Duncan that I was watching, so I think I'm going to give his set of paints a whirl. I think they're just finishing off their Kickstarter, or they're just, some people now have them, something like that. I think it's probably going to be, I don't think it's going to be the cheapest set of paints to buy, because I did see that they're about $3.50 a tub, but they're 15 mils, so I think they're bigger tubs than these Games Workshop ones. How many mils are these? These don't actually say on them, do they? 12 mils. Okay, so they're bigger than, they're a little bit bigger than the GW ones. And maybe they'll have better coverage. I guess we'll see. I guess I'll see. I have seen a lot of people doing slap chop. If I did another army, maybe I'll do slap chop. I'm not really interested in doing it for this Blood Angels army. His range is much smaller than GW, only just launched, says James. I believe it was like 60 paints though. So like, do you know what? I was watching a video by Ninjon who was talking about it, and then I guess I got distracted and had to put it off, or I was watching it the weekend when I was babysitting my kids or something. So I need to get back to it and watch it. But I think I'm happy to support Duncan. I think he's it sounds like he's trying to do the exact same colors or the exact same range as GW, and you guys know how particular I am about stuff matching. So if I'm going to buy paints, I'm going to want ones that are trying to match the GW colors, because that's what I'm trying to keep everything the same. So that'll be my plan. Oh, someone says don't buy Duncan Road set. How come? Why? Oh right, you just don't want to double down on what you've got. I'm happy to double down on what I've got. I would just like if Duncan's paints are the same pigments, which they looked like they were from Ninjon's video, if they're the same pigments and they're in dropper bottles, then I'm sold already, because the thing I don't like about the GW paints is the fact they're not in dropper bottles, because I feel like I waste so much paint for them not being in dropper bottles. So if it's just the same paints in dropper bottles, then I guess double down on what you know for me. If it means that I still have to have some in GW until his range is expanded, so be it. But I think it'll be into sort of the second half of next year before I buy anything big like that, because I've got a lot going on. I've got that commission. I've got to pay Mike for the commission that he was doing, my Terrax, my laser destroyer, and something else. And then I've also got a few other things going on at the moment. Alright, putting those two to the side and bring two more into the picture. Yep, his paints already really match closely to GW, and they are in dropper bottles. Strategic Excavation, says Highland Phoenix. 1 CP, and you get D3 CP back, and you subtract 1 from leadership models of enemies until the end of the battle. You just have to destroy an enemy character within 3 inches of an Inquisition model. Oh, okay. That's better than I thought. He could be a good Centurion. Could be a good babysitter for Centurions. Oof. It always comes back to those damn Centurions, doesn't it? I'm actually surprised that so many people love Centurions, you know that? Now, this guy actually looks kinda okay. And maybe there's not much needing done on him. Just his gun? Okay, cool. I mean, if it's just his gun, great. Put him over there. What's this guy looking like? Okay, a little bit of work. Duncan is already selling individual paints, by the way. If you're in the UK on Wayland Games, they already have some up, like for like $3.50 a pop. So I mean, I didn't do Duncan's Kickstarter. I've done Kickstarters in the past. I mean, I'll probably do some in the end as well, but like, it's been a lot. I was gonna say I haven't done that many Kickstarters as of late. I think I've got too many projects half finished. That's my problem. So I was like reluctant to get any more. You know, I was reluctant to do any more Kickstarters or anything till I get caught up on all these projects that I've got half finished. Evening, Campbell. How are you? I am probably one of the few people who prefer GW lid style bottles over droppers. You are, Atlas. You're the only person in this entire chat. If anyone else prefers the GW bottle paints over dropper bottles, type number 1 in chat. There's gonna be nobody, Atlas. It's gonna be you. You and your own sim. I mean, why? Why? Like, look at all this paint wasted in the top of this bottle, all around this rim. Like, look at all that. It's caked in there, man. Absolute waste. And that's one. I mean, I've got 50 paints on my desk. It's you. You know the trick with these, right? Where you can pop them inside out. If you push the top here, I always get my fingers really messy when you do this, but if you push the top inside out, all that paint in the rim will come out. Sometimes it's easier if you can just pull this whole thing off and then do it that way. Do I have a broken one actually? Because sometimes it's easier if maybe I already broke some. Do you know which one is broken? Is my Celestia Grey for sure. Yes, this one's broken. So like, see this? If you like push this inside out, it's not the easiest thing to do. There you go. And then look at all this. Paint. Grab something like a hobby knife. Look at all this paint. Look at all. Why would you like this? What's good about this? Like, look at that. There's heaps of paint lost in that rim. Like, there's nothing good about this at all. Yeah, like, once you actually get to peel it and look. Oh, I was hoping a big, huge, giant chunk would come out. This isn't even a bad bottle. In terms of like this isn't a lot. I've seen that where that paint's like 2 or 3 millimeters thick, and it's just like all wasted, just all wasted paint, man. 2 people like them. Okay, all right. I'll accept that I was wrong. You and Peter like them. Crusty rim's not suitable in YouTube. I might need to go and wash my hands now because I've got so much paint on my hands. Yeah, I'm gonna be back in just one sec. God damn it. That wasn't even a dirty bottle. I've seen those things where they're so caked in paint, the insides of the rims, that like you basically pull half the tub of paint back out of there. I don't know if I've got one that's that bad, because occasionally I do pop them inside out to clean them. But I have seen some that are just ridiculous. I guess I don't have one that's too bad at the moment. Trust me though. Yeah, you can also knock these pots over. That is another thing that can happen. Yeah, that's a good way of wasting paint as well. I have a dropper bottle for a couple of colours, and trust me, like, it's just so much better. And you can get small amounts out if you're really careful and take your time. You don't have to get giant amounts of paint out. Yeah, I'm not a fan of these pots at all. Like, if I wasn't so lazy, I would move all my paints into dropper bottles. So if there's an option of getting the exact same paints already in dropper bottles and it's £1 more, honestly, I think you'll probably the paint will last twice as long because you're not wasting any of it. So I think that even if it's £1 more in the long run, it'll probably actually be cheaper, right? 2 people can't be wrong. Don't worry, it's a safe space. 100%, this is a safe space. Yeah, I mean, if you like the dropper bottle, if you like the GW paints, well, don't worry. I don't think they're going anywhere. You can buy them to your heart's content. The rest of us will just have to find out other ways of getting dropper bottles. It seems opening the lid with too much angle exacerbates the drying paint. I don't know what causes it, but I know that some of those paints, like, I never paint out of the lid of the bottle, right? Like, so I shake the bottle. Like, I very rarely, like, I never leave them open like this and paint out of them. Look at the silver here, like, I guess like a tiny little bit will just every time you open it will just drain underneath, and then you get left with like all that paint. Oh, I mean, that's like a millimeter of paint at least, right? And once it starts, it just builds up more as you shake it, and not much you can do about it. I'll probably get in trouble from someone on tonight's stream because I'm using metallic paints in the same water as the same water as I'm painting my my other colours out of. I am very much a battle ready painter though, right? The only way I'm winning Golden Demon is if no one else enters. And then even then I'm probably not winning. I haven't finished a squad fully in forever, it feels like. I think the last squad I finished was like my Assault Terminators, which is an embarrassing long time ago, right? Like, it must be like, I don't know, it must be like June or something when I finished those Assault Terminators. I have been bouncing around a little bit, like I painted a bunch of Sangri. Oh no, I finished one model. I remember now. I had a holiday in like July or August, and I painted that one Sangri Guard from start to finish in a single day, and filmed a video for it. So I painted one model from start to finish in July. But I think I did, like, during that holiday, I did like 5 Sangri Guard up to sort of like a 3-color battle ready standard so I could use them in an event. And then after that, I quickly pivoted into some Death Company and basically got them up to standard where like I could, they had a bunch of colours on them and I could use them in an event, but like neither any of those Sangri Guard or the Death Company were finished. There was quite a few of them actually. So I would like to I'd like to finish off these incursors, and then I'd like to actually try and finish some of those other models so that I can say I've finished some things in the last 6 months. When you shake it, always give it a hard downstroke at the end. It helps a bit, says Braden. Okay, I appreciate the input. Whether or not I remember to do that, Braden, will be another question, but could probably try and do that. You know, I'll probably buy like 1 or 2 of Duncan's paints and give them a try. and if they're better, I'll just slowly start phasing out the Citadel ones as they run out. I'll phase them out for the two thin coats ones. I like the fact that the two thin coats ones have like a diagram that basically says like, hey, if you used Citadel Red, for example, or they're not called Citadel Red, but if you use like, I think it was Mephiston Red, you buy a two thin coat one called like Sanguine Skull or Sanguine Scarlet or something, and there's like an actual conversion chart. That's what I'm looking for. Like, I don't want to change I don't really want to change the colors I'm using, I just maybe want to change the paint I'm using. So that's my aim. Don't mention finishing models. I've got 23 prime models that need painting, and that's my entire weekend gone. If you can paint 23 models in a weekend, DTM, I'll send you some of mine and you can help me out. I'm probably going to not finish 23 models this year, honestly. And it's not like I don't paint on a regular basis. I don't stick with a single project. I paint what I think is going to be competitive, and as stuff jumps in and out of competitive play or my competitive lists, it gets benched off the painting table. If it's not in a competitive list, then it very quickly gets benched. That's my problem. So a unit has to be good for a long period of time to actually get finished. Do you put little ball bearings in your pots? I don't, but I've heard people that do that, and I heard that can definitely help. I mean, I don't know if I have that many issues with paint drying up. My issues are just more with paint getting lost into the top of those pots. I mean, I do have the odd colour that's pretty dry or looks pretty dry, but I mean, most of the colours that I've got that are pretty dry, like I've had the pots for like it'll be like a partial colour I don't use much of, right? Like brown, for example. So I only ever really paint like Space Marine belts in brown. So like I've had this one tub of Mournfang brown for like 4 years, and yeah, it's a bit dried out and stuff now, and it needs pretty watered down whenever you want to use it, but like I only use it like to paint a tiny piece of each model, so if I have to replace that brown, I'm not overly upset about that. I mean, it's done me good considering how many models I've probably used it for. Nathan says I only use battle ready, use contrast speed paints. I don't like the look of traditional painting, and the models I do highlight is very thin. Well, if you don't like the, I mean, I've seen models with contrast paint. I own some contrast paint actually. I just don't use it all that often. But no, I understand that I could be quicker if I used contrast paint. It's not a rush though. I'm not in a rush. I never go to events with unpainted stuff, or at least I never go to events with like units that don't have 3 colours on them, so I've never lost points at an event for not having stuff painted enough, and like, as I say, I don't rush my models. So if there was a competition for being the most average / slowest painter, I guess I could win that. Anyone get any 40k games planned for this weekend? anyone had any games where they've really struggled lately, or any that they've... I know Daniel told us that he beat Tyranids massively earlier. Anyone else had any big wins, or anyone else had any big problems recently? What are people finding difficult to fight into, or... DTM hasn't answered about the 23 models in the weekend, so I think he must have had to run and start them already. He wants to finish them in the one weekend. Braden finally got 5 Assault Terminators done in a month, but I only get a couple hours on the weekend to paint. Do you know those Assault Terminators have so many little decals and things on them? If you manage to paint the Assault Terminators in a month with all those decals, man, you're doing amazingly well. Because my Assault Terminators took me like, I was going to say at least 3 months. It was just 5. I have another like, I actually have like 20 Assault Terminators in a drawer here. I don't know why I've got so many, but when I was young, I guess I just bought a lot of Warhammer. I didn't paint any of it when I was young though, like I just bought it, made it, and then played with it like sprayed red. The stuff that I did paint was typically tragic. DTM beat some Cult of Bile Space Marines with 1,000 Suns. Fight on death is not the biggest issue for 1,000 Suns, yeah, because you've got, what, how many smites in your list? Like 30? That's probably an exaggeration. 20 smites? 15 smites? You get a lot of smites as 1,000 Suns. Factory line, you'll do 23 models in a weekend. I mean, if I could do that many models in a weekend, I'd need another army because I'd have finished this one. Oh well. One day I'll finish painting all my Blood Angels. Just keep sticking at it. Do painting twice a week every week. I'm hoping to get a little bit extra painting time over the Christmas holidays. Maybe get like a couple of extra sessions in, a couple of extra streams. Maybe even do like a morning stream one day. We'll see. Alright, he looks good for now, I think. What's this guy looking like? He's good too, is he? Maybe just here. Did I paint underneath his neck? No. Okay, so I need to do underneath his neck and then go on to the last one. 20 Assault Terminator sounds like a meme army. It would be, wouldn't it? I think I could... Assault Terminators, you can run them in any size squad, right? Up to 10. So I think I've got like 8 with Thunderhammers. And then I've got like 7 or 8 with Lightning Claws. But then I've also got 10 more Rogue Trader ones, and they've got 5 hammers and 5 lightning claws. So I could go hard on the Terminators, really hard. John is playing Tempest War against Necrons. Last time out, lost pretty hard. Necrons are the battle that I lost at the final game of that GT, and I'd never played against the Silent King before. It's a pet peeve of mine to play against something in an event that you've never played before. It's just always going to be it's like, for lack of a better word, it's going to be a shit show of a game, isn't it? When I played Grey Knights for the first time ever at the top table of an event, that was an absolute shit show for me. When I played the Silent King for the first time ever, that was equally a shit show. I did well against my Chaos Demons, the Zinj Demons with those flamers. I was trying to think, like, I definitely suppressed the flamers the first time I charged them. But I think I just suppressed them out of, like, because they were called flamers. Like, I didn't think I knew how much damage they did. I think I just suppressed them because I was like, oh, they're flamers. They'll do some auto hits. I may as well suppress them. And then I suppressed them, killed a bunch of the flamers, and then the next turn, like, another squad of flamers just came over and, like, completely decimated one of my squads that were in cover. And I was like, alright, okay. Thank God I friggin' suppressed these guys last turn just out of a little bit of luck. I didn't realise how good... I think I thought they were flamers, actually, were like the Chaos Space Marine flamers. You know, they got that rule where it's like the galaxy will burn or something and all their flamers get +2. So I assumed that their flamers were going to be pretty strong. I guess I didn't assume that they were +3 flamers, though. Flamers with +3 is nuts. If you've never played against it, trust me, you don't want to play it. If you don't have Whirlwind, I don't know how you're winning that game. Well, I mean, I guess you'll win when they put the cost of the points of flamers up, which will be happening before too long. 10 or 11 smites, but you can't smite that much without the casting value going up and up and up. That's true, I suppose. But, you can probably do, what, like 5 or 6 reliable smites? How much more in this squad? So looking at this guy here, for example, this is one of the more complete guys. I'm just trying to get this last one caught up with the other 4. So there's 4 at this state. Some of this armor here, you can still see the red through it. So I'm probably gonna just do a bit of Mechanicus Standard Grey on some of the joints where I can see the red through. Then I'm gonna null noil all the... Oh, is that every time I do that I see something wrong with the model. There we go. Then I'll probably null noil all the metallics and all the armor joints. I might null noil the leather as well, and then I'll probably recess wash the entire model agrax. Then I'll tidy that all up. Then I'll probably recess wash the helmet with like Reichland Fleshshade. Then I'll tidy that up, and then they'll be finished. So how long? I mean, at least another hour or 2 hours on each guy. I'm sorry, I know I'm slow. That's just me. Good evening, Inks. Hello, how you doing? I did get your army list submission for this week, Inks, so we'll get you on the show this week again for sure, no problem. Hope you're having a good night. There's free virtual girls in chat in your city, because that's a thing. I mean, do these bots ever even get any clicks? Like, who's writing these bots? Oh, this guy looks like he's kind of caught up anyway. What's this guy needing done? Or maybe the handles of his little knives here. That's about it. Handles and then a tiny bit of cleanup. Hello, Jason. Good evening. Suppressors? I mean, I guess you could. Suppressors would be useful against Zinch Flamers, but like, let's be real. Who's running suppressors? Like, does anyone run suppressors regularly? I feel like the answer is no. We like. Usually, if we see someone submit an army list to the army show with suppressors, it's because they didn't know about the suppression fire strat from the Whirlwind, and they were looking for a way to do Overwatch denial. You know, like no one. I feel like no one's really reliably running suppressors. I mean, I tried to run them in a few games and make them work, but the reality of them was they don't do any damage. They're -1 to hit when you move them, which is a big problem, I think. And yeah, I just felt like they didn't do any damage, and that was, I mean, this isn't a, that would have been in a pre-Armor of Contempt world. So with Armor of Contempt being so prevalent now, I guess like Void Armor for the Votan and stuff, like if suppressors were in a bad state then, I mean, they're even, like, I don't know how you can run suppressors. Like I said, I think newer players might run suppressors because they're not sure how to deal with things overwatching Blood Angels, but anyone that's a bit more experienced and knows about like charging through from obscuring positions or running a whirlwind, anyone that's a bit more experienced is just doing that and not trying to make suppressors work, which I think is probably quite a thankless job if you want to try and make suppressors work, because I feel like they just probably. And then yeah, I mean, another weakness of suppressors is that they're only turning off Overwatch on infantry, right? So like anything big or nasty, then they become useless. So like I honestly think it's impossible to spend 100 points on suppressors when you can spend 125 on the Whirlwind. Like, it's just yeah, no one. I mean, is anyone doing it? Suppose you could run both and hope that you fight an army with infantry, so you don't need to use the CP on your Whirlwind. But I mean, there's no the Whirlwind doesn't do any damage, so why would you be running it? You know, you're not running the Whirlwind as a damaging unit because it doesn't do any. So then you would just be basically paying double the amount of points to maybe save a CP, and now you've got 2 units that don't do any damage. I like suppressors pre-Armor of Contempt, says Jim. 9 autocannon shots, but they're lacking. Yeah, I mean, if their guns weren't heavy, that would probably help them a lot. It's the fact that the second you move them, you only hit with half the shots is a huge problem. Guys in my local store run suppressors, so he doesn't have to spend the CP. I mean, like I said, yeah, maybe there's a play there. I feel like it's a very edge play. But I mean, maybe there's a play there. Where did I put my Mechanus Standard Grey? Anyone want suppressors, they're welcome to mine, says James. Do you know what the really sad thing about suppressors was, James, is I was going to say, I was doing a Death Company color scheme on them. And I think it was going to be, like, I feel like it was going to be really cool. I wonder if I've got one in just a drawer line there. I don't see it. I'll have to look out for a future stream when we talk about suppressors, but I feel like I had a cool looking Death Company color scheme idea for them. I think it would have been quite cool, but like they just don't see any time on the tabletop, which is really disappointing. You know, we're probably due a rules refresh soon enough, though. Won't be long. It really won't be long, I feel like. If they didn't have to kill to get the suppression effect, I think that would help. I mean, you can usually kill one model with them, right? It's just the fact that that's all they kill is one model. But I do feel like they do kill one model. I just don't know if 100 points to kill one model a turn is worth it. I guess the answer is no, I don't think it's worth it. The 70 points I might consider suppressor, says Exo. Hellblaster should be cheaper too. Yeah, Hellblaster has been more expensive than Sandguard is kind of stupid, dude. I hope work's not too bad, Braden. Thanks for hanging out. Chances of Space Marines 2.0 before World Eaters. Space Marine 2.0 won't be before anything that's been announced so far, Jason. Because when they do release Space Marine 2.0, they'll hype it. They'll hype it. I mean, there's a small chance that they might tease or something on the run up to Christmas, I feel like. Ever so slightly small chance. But I don't know. There's been so many rumors about 10th edition in the new box set, so it's really hard to know. But yeah, I think by the end of the year I would like to finish these 5 incursors. I had 5 more that were like... What's about one of the 3 Arcs of Omens books being Dante? You think? I mean, they've got that Sanguinius release coming up this Saturday, right? I mean, maybe? If you're right, I'll be happy. I've almost finished the Astrath book. I think last week when I was streaming I said that I was on chapter 9. I'm now on chapter 12, so I'm getting through that Astrath book. But I mean, in the Astrath book, I guess I'm not going to say anything. I'll do another video on the Astrath book because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that's not read it. I don't think they'll release... Yeah, I think Dante will come with a Blood Angels refresh of some sort. But I mean, I don't know when that's coming, or I don't know anything about it. Remember, Ultramarines haven't even had their codex yet in 9th edition. 9th edition has been out 2.5 years, Ultramarines don't have a codex, which if you actually think about that, it's kind of mad. Because for the longest time, like, people would call Ultramarines like the poster boys, like they were the chapter. Even, you remember the trailer they put out? Like, this would be 2 years old, 2.5 years old, but remember the trailer they put out at the beginning of 9th that had like an Ultramarine, a Sister of Battle, and like a Necron in the trailer, I think. And then, like, you know, 2 years on, Ultramarines still don't have a codex. Oh, happy Thanksgiving, says Wildling. I guess we don't celebrate Thanksgiving here, but happy Thanksgiving to you. I think it's just America and Canada that do Thanksgiving, right? What's it in celebration of? Is it in celebration of your independence from Britain? Or is that... I mean, I think that's Independence Day, but maybe Thanksgiving's tied together as well? I'm not really sure. Maybe we'll see the prophecy unfold in Abaddon as the figure threatening the Empire. Well, Abaddon's on a crusade at the moment, right? So, like... I was gonna say it, I mean... They were advancing the story a little bit more last edition, it feels like, with the Vigilus stuff, right? And then it kinda stopped. Psychic Awakening, and, well, I know maybe Vigilus was 9th edition actually, it's hard to keep track. There was also the Ictarius book as well, I think that was at the start of 9th. I didn't pick up any of those books, you guys know me, I'm not huge into the lore. I'm only gonna get, I'm only gonna buy like a lore book if it has like lots of Blood Angels content. Or a Blood Angels Army of Renowned, but I think they've basically said they're gonna stop doing that because people didn't like the story books having lore in it, I think. Hey, good evening, Reziel. How are you doing? Because I think they said with Arcs of Omen there was going to be no rules in the books. Yeah, because I guess people just didn't like how that was being marketed or produced or something. It also meant people had to buy more books and carry more books with them, and I think there's a limit to where people get upset and think it's a bit stupid, like they need too many books or something. It's thanks for all the fall harvest we sustain living in the new world, says Jason. Okay. I mean, I guess America and back then would have been pretty challenging to live in. My dad actually used to have a house in America. I'm so sad that he sold it. It's like a dream of mine maybe one day to buy a house in America again. It was like the ultimate for going on vacation, because the weather in Scotland right now is starting to get brutal. You know it's cold when like just walking to work is basically like you your eyes will be watering and stuff just because it's so cold. I have like a 35-minute walk to work as well, so it's long enough where like if you don't wrap up warm you'll be fucking freezing by the end of it. Well, it's going to be Christmas in like, well, it's the 24th of November today, isn't it? So, holy shit. It's Christmas in a month. I don't know where this year's gone, honestly. It's been nice. This year has felt good though. Like after like the couple of years of the pandemic that we had, like feels like some normality has returned. On Twitch, my channel still says I'm playing God of War. I played it once, like 2 weeks ago. I guess I'm more of a YouTube person than a Twitch person, huh? Thanks for letting me know, though. I think I can probably fix that for the next stream. I'm excited for the New Year's Eve stream, stocking up on drink. I'm worried about the New Year's Eve stream, to be honest. Am I still going to try Dark Tide? Yes. I think we're going to be playing on the 8th. I don't know exactly when it comes out, but I've scheduled to play it with Mark and Tony on the 8th. Yeah, I'm scared for the New Year. I don't want to be as drunk this New Year as I was last year. It always is the times when I don't plan on getting drunk that I get absolutely like if I go out and be like, oh, you know, there's a big night tonight, lads, I never end up getting drunk. But if I don't plan to get drunk, then I get absolutely shit-faced. It's always the nights that I plan to not get drunk that I get shit-faced. So yeah, I didn't plan at all to get drunk last New Year, but like, I blame James Fisher, honestly, for giving me a $200 super chat. I mean, if I was drinking pretty heavily, and then the $200 super chat came in, and then I was like, oh shit, may as well get drinking properly now. And then that was the craziest night ever. We'll be streaming on New Year's Eve, yes. This year I might invite some people to join us on camera for a little while. Have a beer, hang out. Hopefully I don't get too shit-faced, but I mean, no promises, right? Anyone starting a new army for Christmas, New Year? That's a good question. Is anyone starting a new army for Christmas? New Year. Anyone going for a battle force? I love the battle forces. Each year I look at them longingly. I'm not gonna lie, I looked at the Thousand Suns one pretty seriously this year, but I think I'm like 2 years probably from starting another army. I'd like to just, I mean, and that depends if there's a shitload of new Blood Angels models released or Primaris models released that are going to be viable for Blood Angels, then just add another 2 years to that. I thought over the holidays though I might do a stream where I'm painting my Star Wars Legion, because I've been sitting on these models for ages. I've got two boxes of them. I actually want to play like a game of Star Wars Legion over the holidays as well. There's a bunch of people that play it, you know, the same place that I play my where I play my weekly tactics video. So I figured, like, in the holiday season, like, maybe I could get one game of Star Wars Legion. If people, I can't imagine many people on the channel will want to watch it, because I mean, most of you guys are 40k players, but like, you know, it's the holidays. I enjoy Star Wars Legion, so I haven't played it since before I started this channel, so I figured I'll have one game of it. I'll stream it. If people don't like it, then no biggie, you can just choose not to watch it. It's not like it's going to be a regular thing. I also, one of my favourite board games at the moment, because I actually kind of a collector of board games as well. One of my favourite ones at the moment, I like Imperial Assault a lot. I haven't played that nearly as much as I should have, but I like that a lot. And I also bought that new Aliens game. I've never played it. I'd love to play the Aliens one. Am I doing the Thousand Suns? You know, I was thinking of doing a Thousand Suns. I've got some models. I haven't really progressed with them since, again, before. But ever since I started this Blood Angels channel, I pretty much poured my heart and soul into Blood Angels, and I've done nothing but Blood Angels for I'll be coming up on 3 years in not too long. Which is fine, I mean, I don't regret it at all. We've built a great community, and I'm hoping that we can continue to grow it, but at some point down the line I will paint some other stuff occasionally, because I do have a bunch of other games. I've just been so focused on Blood Angels. These little scanner things are annoying. I don't know how much I care about these being accurate, but I'm trying. Pause, good evening! Inks is building some 500-point armies. World Eaters, Blood Angels, Imperial Guard. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what I should do if I start a second 40k army, is just aim to start on 500 points. My Star Wars Legion army is actually, like, all the models that I have up till now are painted. They're probably painted to the same state as this guy is, right? Like, what I would call battle ready. So they are battle ready painted. Foz says, everyone, he enjoyed the 3 Grots video tonight. You asked a lot of the right questions. I could see Blood Bowl players asking. Oh, thanks, Foz, man. I have Blood Bowl, just a very, very first edition, or a very, very early edition of Blood Bowl. Again, I'd love to go and get those models painted, but I guess I'm a while away from getting there. I have Magnus the Dead waiting to be built and painted. Magnus is a bullet magnet. I guess he's got 18 wounds, so he can't be obscured, etc, etc. I do like Magnus as a model, though. He's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of different, like, power, sorry, I was gonna say power? I've seen a lot of different, like, colour schemes on Magnus, and I think that he can be pretty cool and unique. I like him a lot. I wasn't really sure how I was going to paint these bolt guns with these scanners on them. I've ended up just using a lot of, like, I was going to say boring colours, I guess. But at least I've got something now, because I really wasn't sure where I was going with them. Stephen, thank you so much for coming, company veteran. I very much appreciate it, dude. What else have I missed? I lost my love of Star Wars to Disney. I do have all my Imperial Salt. I mean, I like 1977 Star Wars, Rezio. So, I mean, newer Star Wars, whatever, you know. My Star Wars for me is 1977 to like 1983, when I grew up, I guess. DTM says I should have bought my army in 500-point chunks. It is easy to get overexcited with this hobby. I'm the first to attest to that. I have so many armies and hobbies. I bought Age of Sigmar, like the whole starter set, and a bunch of, like, I guess you would call them blister packs. You know, with like little 3-man squads or something. And then I basically had like an entire I basically had 2 entire Age of Sigmar armies. I actually bought all of Warhammer Quest as well, like Silver Tower and is it Shadow over Hammerhall? And I built all the Silver Tower, and I actually half painted like the whole Silver Tower set. And then I got to a point where it was like, I've never played Silver Tower, I've spent all this money on it, and you know, like I said, I'd been focused on Blood Angels, or I'd been focusing on other things. I was like, what the fuck am I doing with all this Warhammer Quest? And I put it all on eBay, and because half of it was like brand new on sprues, I checked on eBay, and like no one else was selling Silver Tower. Like nobody Well, some people were selling Silver Tower and some people were selling Hammerhall, but like nobody had as much of it as I had on sprues. And no one was selling like both games in a single box like I was. So I put the price like really high, like let's say like $400 or something. But I was the only person on eBay that had it, and I was the only person that had it brand new. And like people messaged me and was like, "How dare you list that at $400?" And I was like, "Well, dude, no one else has got it, and it's brand new and it's pristine. If you don't like the price, just don't bid on it, right? Like, you know, that's the price I'm looking for." And I actually did end up accepting like a much lower offer than 400, but like sometimes on eBay when you list stuff up like that and it's rare, someone will come in like, I think the guy maybe came in at like 325 or something, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, you know, like but it was funny that like a couple of people messaged me and were like, "How dare you list this for this price?" And I was like, well, no one else has got it. If you're the only person in the world with these models, then you control the price because no one else has got it, you know. But yeah, so no, I sold my Warhammer Quest because I just was like, when the hell am I getting to it? I never actually bought Cursed City. I think that was it released I think it released not long after I'd sold mine, and I was like, man, I just, you know, I failed at painting the last set of Warhammer Quest. I like the look of Cursed City, but I was like, I just can't buy it because like I'm too fucking slow at painting. I would be, you gotta remember, I spend like 5 nights a week making YouTube videos. If I didn't make YouTube videos, then I guess I would have 5 times as much painting, but I like making YouTube videos. Carter coming in with a gifted sub. Carter, your wife is gonna get you in trouble because you told me you had no more money for gifted subs this month. I appreciate it, nonetheless. But I do remember you telling me no more gifted subs this month. What were you asking about? Lamented Sun says watch Andor. I have been watching Andor. I actually just finished the final episode of Andor tonight. I did enjoy that. I run 3 regular multi-metal land speeders. I mean, 3 regular multi-metal land speeders are great for behind enemy lines. That's one of the reasons that I was thinking, like, you know, last night I ran the Gladiator, the Valiant, the one with all the multi-meltas on it, or 2 multi-meltas and like a twin-linked las fusel, I think it is. Actually, it might not be twin-linked las fusel. It's a 4-shot las fusel, strength 9, minus 3d6 damage. I forget what the exact name on that gun is. But I was thinking, like, it's 205 points. Would I not maybe just be better running 3 multi-metal land speeders? Because as Blood Angels, we really love to go Relentless Assault, and 3 land speeders is probably going to offer me more for Relentless Assault than a single Gladiator Valiant would, right? Riziel says, I don't like Age of Sigmar. I actually enjoy Warhammer Fantasy more. I mean, some people like Fantasy, some people like Sigmar. I actually work my day job on a Warhammer Fantasy video game. So that's my day job. And so I like Fantasy, but I also like the vibrancy of Sigmar. So I think that's probably why I bought Sigmar stuff. And I've got 2 armies of Sigmar. Just they're all brand new in their box. Like 2 full arm. No, I say full armies. They're probably like 1,250 points of 2 armies. At this point, they're probably going to still be in the box when my 1-year-old grows up to like be 8 or 9. So maybe that'll be like his first introduction to Warhammer. Will be like, hey, let's make and play these Sigmar armies that have been sat in a box for 8 years. Or I'll sell them and buy him a 40k army to battle my Blood Angels. How about that? The land speeder's even better for Relentless Assault than behind enemy lines. Yeah, I mean, the reason I guess to go behind enemy lines would be if you're doing stuff like Voidsmen at Arms. I actually don't mind that 50-point squad of Voidsmen at Arms now because of the change to them being troops. So like it's easy to fit 5 28mm model bases into a map you know, they're kind of easy to fit in. And yeah, I like Voidsman at Arms. I think they're a decent unit. I mean, I could even see myself, like, in a world where, like, you know, like, let's say you pick shock tactics, you have to, or what you're saying, Reziel, Relentless Assault, you have to use Blood Angels models to do that. But if you need something to sit in the backfield and just hold an objective, and you want it to be as cheap as possible, then I guess, like, you could do that with Servitors, but they obviously take up an elite slot. But you could also do it with Voidsman at Arms, right? Because they just take up 50 points. No elite slot. They're an agent of the Imperium. And if you're playing a mission, let's say like Data Scry Salvage, you know, sometimes I like to use my Whirlwind to sit on the backfield, and I like that to be the only model that's sitting on the backfield. Well, you can't do that on Data Scry Salvage, because you need to have a unit in the backfield doing actions every turn to, like, maximize your points from the primary plus. So, like, a 50-point man unit of, I guess you could do it with Company Veterans, but again, Company Veterans take up an elite slot, whereas Voidsmen at Arms don't. So yeah, I mean, small 5-man squad of Voidsmen at Arms to sit in the backfield to do actions, and I guess on another map they could do Relentless Assault or something. Like, I think it's okay, right? I think Voidsmen at Arms are decent at 50 points. And I mean, they've got some guns now. They gave them some guns in the last update, so they're maybe even a little bit better. Jim has been loving Landspeeder Tornadoes. You can pay 15. Yeah, you pay 15 points for Assault Cannon, but it feels better when you have 3 or 4 of them with multi-meltas. I mean, I guess that's true. I think on paper they look weaker, because 15 points for an Assault Cannon on paper sounds pretty bad, but I hear what you're saying. There is something to be said. And in some ways it's the same as, like, you know how, like, sometimes we talk about, like, if you run a single Redemptor it doesn't feel that strong. If you run 2 Redemptors it feels okay. And I think that's the same sort of mentality with, like, running those land speeders with the autocannons or the assault cannons. The assault cannons don't feel that good, but if you're running a few of them, then maybe suddenly they start feeling okay, because you've got a bit of weight of fire, and it maybe balances out some of the unreliability or the low AP of the gun, I would say. So yeah, no, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I think miniature painting would be a good way to bond with your dad. It would be, wouldn't it? Because you could just chat shit like we do right now. But yeah, no, I also, I think the first game I played with my dad would have been Hero Quest, same as you, Highland Phoenix. I bought the re-release of Hero Quest, the Kickstarter. I've actually yet to play it. At some point I'm going to play a board game on the channel, so when that happens you guys will just have to deal with it. I'll probably play it, like, maybe when Mark and Tony come and visit or something. I mean, we'll probably play some games for the Grotz channel when that happens as well, but yeah, I'm yet to play the re-release of Hero Quest. I remember the rules being very simple for Hero Quest, but I'd like to play it at some point. It's Christmas time, maybe I could take Hero Quest round to my family at Christmas and we could wind the years back and play an old game of Hero Quest. I couldn't have made more of a mess of that if I tried. Some info on boarding parties. It's mostly infantry and elite choices, no bikes, no jump packs, no monsters, no vehicles. So the Terminator meta, I was right, Inks. That's what I said. Boarding party is going to be Terminator meta. I'm going to play... Did they say when boarding party is getting released yet? Because I've got a lot of Terminators. I also have a lot of painted aggressors. I've also got painted centurions. It sounds like boarding party is going to be my it's going to be my jam. All the units that I painted that are not competitive in 40k anymore will be good in boarding party. December the 1st. Oh, December is the first book. Okay, sorry, you had me thinking December the 1st. Holy crap. So my budget for this December is still blown, man. Kids Christmas, and I'm wanting to get more Death Company, and I think that Sanguinius book goes on sale on Saturday morning, right? Oh well, we'll see. I do really want to play boarding party. The Salt Terminator meme finally becomes good. I've got firstborn Terminators with well, of course all Terminators are firstborn, duh. Excuse me, I've got Terminators with like assault cannons and storm bolters and chain fists and power fists, and I mean I've got, back in 2nd edition when I played like a lot of Blood Angels before even Sanguinary Guard were a thing, like our elite choice, you could only have one Death Company in your army, right? Like, because you pooled models from your other list, or your other, the Death Company were formed from your other squads, so you couldn't choose the size of your Death Company. So because of that, like your elite choice, or I remember 2nd edition a lot. 2nd edition you played like Blood Angels with a lot of Terminators. I mean, you could have assault squads, but I don't know if assault squads were that useful in 2nd edition. I didn't really run assault squads. I ran Terminators. I ran like, and it wasn't close combat Terminators. It was Terminators with storm bolters and like power fists and chain fists. And the sergeant, for some reason, which was a bit random, always had to have that power sword, right? But like that's what I have a lot of. So if we do boarding party, that's what I'm running. Heavy flamer. Do you know what? I actually don't know if any of mine are modeled with heavy flamers. Maybe I need to try and find like some of those what are they called? The Space Marine Heroes. Maybe I need to try and find some of the Space Marine Heroes with Space Marine Hero Terminators with a heavy flamer, or maybe a couple that could convert to have a heavy flamer. DKM's going to be bringing out the Hellbrutes. Well then we're going to... I think boarding party will be a change of pace, and it'll be really fun, and hopefully it'll tide over until we get a refresh for Blood Angels. I suppose Death Guard Terminators will be good with their -1 damage. Okay. You'll just have to hope that you make the charge on us first, because if we charge Death Guard first, I'm sure we can still kill a bunch of Terminators. Oh, I suppose Dark Angels Transhuman Terminators will be good as well. Yeah, well, sure. I'm still going to run my Blood Angels Terminators in boarding party. I'm still think it'll be fun. I mean, if we've got no jump packs, then 3 wound Terminators I think will be the most fun. Alright, it's coming up to 11:30, so I've got like 10 more minutes here. These guys are going to be ready for washing next time out, maybe? We've got a little bit of work to do on some of the armor joints. The guns are basically finally finished. I've got a little bit of cleanup maybe to do on some other parts of these models. But I'm almost at the point where I've got the base coats down. It's taken me a long time. Always does, though, I guess. Feels like it's been a pretty fun stream tonight. If you have enjoyed yourself at any point tonight, do consider hitting like, I always do really appreciate you guys liking the videos. It helps me out a lot, so thank you for that. I really didn't know how I was going with these weird guns, but that's what I've ended up doing. Something pretty simple, just enough to keep a little bit of interest in them. DTM is going to start a Death Guard army because of the Christmas box. I don't know if my 3rd, 9th edition army should be another Marine army. I'll probably branch out more. Good evening, Mike. How are you? I feel like with Death Guard, you can probably use contrast paint to get them painted really quickly, though. Right? Because Colin tells me how he paints like Death Guard models in like an evening every time I see him. He's like, oh, the other night I painted like these 3 Death Guard models in one evening. I was like, okay, wow, Colin, just rub it in. Hodgar says, Slow Painter Club. I respect your dedication over the years to building a collection. Hopefully you can share your army in whole again soon. Yeah, I'm gonna share a video of everything I've got painted at Christmas time. I'm trying desperately to get my mum to have my kids for a sleepover for like one night. But apparently that's almost too much to ask. So I'm desperate to get like one day without the kids, and if I do get a day without the kids, I will I'll get everything out from all the shelves and boxes that I've got it all stored in. I'll take it all down to the kitchen table. I think I'll set up like some terrain and stuff down there, and I'll try and take all my lighting and stuff downstairs, and I'll try and film like a redo video of, like, it's been like 2 years since I filmed, like I had everything that I own now and all painted and finished. So I really want to try and do that. But welcome to the, yeah, I mean, maybe we need a Slow Painter Club award. I'm obviously the head of the Slow Painters, but you're more than welcome to join us, Podgar. Hey Frank. Mike says, I'm glad that you guys are admitting that you're slow as well. I appreciate it. I think it's nice to take your time over Warhammer. Like, I mean, I feel like it's they're like, let's be honest here, they're a luxury item, you know, they're not. It's like $30 for 5 little miniatures that probably cost like $2 to make. Plastic, you know, the plastic for the models is probably infinitely cheaper than what we spend on it. So like, take your time, enjoy your hobby. That's what I advocate. These guys look pretty decent though. I mean, I'm almost ready for washing. I'm definitely going to be ready for, like, I just need to go back into some of these armor panels where the red is still through a little bit. Maybe need to put a little bit more yellow on some of the helmets. They do seem overall okay, the yellow helmets. JT's working to get his army ready for the end of February. Nice. It's good to have goals. I do find that sometimes if you have a goal, you can go a bit faster. Or you can motivate yourself to paint every week. My thought with the painting every week is to just try and make sure that you like you set yourself a time each week and you just paint at that time for a certain amount of time. And then I find that you always end up getting stuff done anyway because you've set the time and the goal. So. But I do think like having an event to go to, as long as the event's not like, hey, I'm going to this tournament next Friday, having an event to go to can definitely help, like focus your work or something like that. Right, I'm going to put this tiny bit of red on this last bolt. I was going to say bolt gun. I actually don't know what the Cursor's guns are called. They're not bolt rifles. They are. Man, I've been using Cursors for months now. I should know what their guns are called. Oh, I think it's is it the Oculus Bolt Carbine? I think that might be it. If not, that's the name of the Infiltrator's guns. I put too much water on that red, god damn it. Alright, well that'll probably need a second coat, but seems like a good spot to end on the tiny little bit of work needed left on one of the guns, and then just the armored joints. Well, that'll be what we're doing on Saturday night. And then when these 5 are finished, maybe I'll put some transfers on the Gladiator tank, or maybe I will get back to this like 10 new Death Company that I've been working on. I know I've got like 10 Death Company to finish and like 5 in progress Sanguinary Guard to finish. Hey Divisius. Oculus Bolt Carbine. I was right. It's funny that I forget that, considering I've been running Cursors now pretty regularly for like 2 years. Alright, I'm just gonna wait 1 minute and then I'm gonna take off. Saturday night I'll be back. I've got a new tactics video coming out on YouTube tomorrow though. Roughly around lunchtime, like same time as it always is every week. So if you want to check out my new video on YouTube and see how I talk about playing Tau tomorrow, and I talk about getting destroyed by the Silent King and the Necrons. I need to have somebody in my local like group that plays the Silent King, because I don't have any game. Like before the event I had no games against him. Now in a post-event world I have 1 game against him. When I get killed by something big like that, I want to get more practice against it. It's difficult when you don't know anyone with the Silent King. The teaser for tomorrow's video, the teaser is that it's part 2 of last week's video. So last week's video, I think I literally called it out in the video saying that, you know, last week I was breaking down my performance at the GT, going into each game and how I try to play each game in secondaries and stuff like that. So it's just continuing that, Mike. It's all about the GT. Carter says if it wasn't about a painting competition, then he wouldn't have touched Mephisto. Yeah, I mean there is definitely something to be said about having enter yourself insane goals. I don't like putting too much pressure on my painting. That's why I paint every week. I guess like I would rather paint every week, and then when it comes to like an event, like I hate signing up for an event if there's models that need painted. I just hate it. So like I'd rather probably go to an event with something that's a little bit less competitive if it means that I don't have to paint. I don't have to rush and paint. I always see people like the night before events painting at like 2 AM, and I'm like, how the fuck do you think you're going to perform well at an event if you're up till 2 AM painting? On the night of an event, like normally the events start at like 9 AM. I go to bed at like 11. It's like the earliest of the week that I go to bed. I go to bed earlier on event night than I do on a night when I go to work. What's my thoughts on Mephisto now? Well, if you want a survivable character that can deny psychic interrogation and other nonsense, then he's good, I guess. I mean, I never picked Mephisto for his damage output or his sword, really, right? And I guess if you want Unleash Rage. Yeah, I mean, I always speak to people the night that are like, I'm painting the night before the event. I'm like, okay, well, just don't expect to do well in the event. Like, why the fuck did you pick something that you need to paint the night before? I think that's fair to say. Am I off Mephisto? Probably, but I do think by not having a... I hate giving up 15 points. Like, you know, when I played the Votan this week, they're able to take Psychic Interrogation, and the Votan have that stupid thing where their Psycho can do an action and he can cast a power. So he's always going to do an action, he's always going to cast a power, so I'm just going to give up 15 points. I kind of hate that. I hate giving away 15 points. That's why I think I need to add this guy to my Christmas... I mean, I'm gonna have so much shit to do over Christmas, but like Inquisitor Ermos Cartavolusnus. He's just an Inquisitor, I think. Hold on, here's his rules. You guys read that? So Imperium within 6 can use his leadership of 9. I mean, that's useful. He's got 5 up in bun. Each time an attack is made against this, subtract 1. I mean, I guess you could use him as this guy. Or you could, does it say his... I didn't even realize this was actually a real character. I thought he was just a standard... I thought he was just a model for a dummy Inquisitor. Oh no, he's actually got... He's got rules and he's 80 points and everything. Holy shit, I didn't realize that. It's the commemorative series one. Tony and Mark picked it up for me at Warhammer World. I guess like the Warhammer World anniversary this year. So, yeah, this year. I didn't realize he was an actual character. I thought he was just... I never actually opened this before. I thought he was just like a generic Inquisitor with... They'd just given him a name on the box, because, you know, like sometimes they like I thought it was like Captain Carlian or like Lieutenant Tolmeron. Like, he's just a lieutenant, they've just given him a name. But no, it looks like he's actually got rules. Oh shit, maybe. It's actually got a custom psychic power as well. This model can attempt to cast 1 power in your psychic phase and deny 2. It knows Smite and Ritual Shackle psychic power. Ritual Shackle is a warp charge of 7. Select 1 enemy with an 18. They subtract 1 from their psychic tests. And they subtract 1 from their attacks wound rolls. And if you cast it on a 10 or more, you can select 1 that's 24 away. I didn't realise this was a custom guy. Jim has this character as well and didn't realise that either. Okay, so it's not... usually when this sort of thing comes up, Jim, it's just me being an idiot. Okay. Well, you know, we'll break him out. We'll do a little bit of a stream/video on him over Christmas. I feel like I'll make him and I'll probably run him as a generic Inquisitor. But yeah, give it a Google search later. Alright, next time we're back on Saturday night, Rizzy. I'll save any more questions about Psychers for then. Am I running Mephisto in the near future? No. Am I running a Martes? Yes. Have I been sleeping on Lamartes? Yes. I kind of like Lamartes. Alright, I'll see you guys Saturday night. I'll be back. I've got a video coming out tomorrow as well, though. Yeah, that's it. Enjoy your evening. I gotta head to bed. Peace. Oh, thanks so much for the gifted subs, the new members. You guys rock. Everyone that's on a green name as well. Thank you so much. You guys rock.